Hello everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to do an unboxing video of this new ASICS super shoe. The name of this super shoe is called the METASPEED Sky. Everyone has been anticipating this pair of shoes since last year, where Sarah Hall came in silver in the 2020 London Marathon, and everyone has been talking about this pair of shoe, when ASICS will release this pair of super shoe. And finally, the official release date for this METASPEED Sky is scheduled in Singapore 31st March 2021. Concurrently on the same release date, ASICS also will be releasing another model. It's called the Magic Speed. This is basically like a stripped down versions of the METASPEED Sky. However, in this video, I'll be focusing on just the METASPEED Sky. I will do a separate Magic Speed on a separate video, so do watch out for it. So let's quickly look into the upper constructions. ASICS say that this is 100% recycled material, so the good thing is that this is environmental friendly. And on the design itself, on the construction, you can see that it is basically seamless. The upper fabric is a very thin piece of fabric, very light and very breathable. And let's look at the laces and the eyelet. They are additional punch hole. In case of any runners who want to do the lock lace method, the additional holes will be very helpful. If we talk about the shoe tongue, you can see that it is a very thin flat piece of tongue. In the interior design, there is no gusset in between the upper fabric and the tongue. The socks liner is glued onto the midsole material, so you are not able to take it out, while the heel collar is lightly padded, just enough cushioning just to secure the heel to the shoe without causing any heel slipping. Otherwise, if you talk about the heel counter, it is super pliable, compressible, so literally there is no additional TPU material on the heel. And this kind of concept is basically just to keep the weight down as much as possible. After all, this is a racing shoe. Next, let's talk about the new midsole material designed and patented by ASICS. This material is called the Flight Foam Blast Turbo. In fact, the original pre-iteration of Flight Foam Blast has been well received by the runners because of its super responsiveness. Right now, ASICS has managed to tweak it and to make it even more responsive. And combining it with a full-length carbon plate, it helps to keep the shoe more stable and more controlled. For the bottom of the shoe, the outsole, this is made up of this ASICS technology material called the ASICS grip, which is commonly found in their trail running shoe collection like the Fuji Tropical series. Based on their testing, the grip has been proven to be very sticky and provide a lot of traction. Works well on wet surfaces and on wet weather. Next, we're going to do the Durometer test. For this test, we are testing the density of the midsole foam. So how does this Durometer work is that it measures how dense the material is. So the lower the number, the softer it is. The higher the number, the firmer it is. So in the Durometer standards, there are different standards. There are A, B, C, D. So in this test, I'm going to use the short A standard. In order to get very accurate data, the surface has to be super flat. So in this case, I'm trying to find the most flattest surface without any creep or any crinkle lines. So I tried a little bit. For the Nike Next Percent, the one whole piece of Zoom X material, in fact, it has two separate density. On the top half, you can see it's softer than the lower half. The lower half measured close to about 40, while the upper half measured about 32++. and I measured again just to make sure that it is validated. So you can see the lower half goes to 40 to 42 Durometer. Quickly, the next shoe I'm going to test density is by this China brand called Tan, and this model is called Fei Ying. Luckily, this one whole solid piece of PBEX material. Right, it's quite easy to find a flat surface just to get the average score. So the score is average about 29 to 30 plus plus. So in summary, the Tan is considered on the lower side in terms of Durometer. It means it is a very soft shoe. Finally, so this is the one that we are anticipating. So if you look at the design of the midsole, there's a lot of lines going on. So I don't think I'm gonna get a very accurate data, but I'm gonna try my best to find a flat surface just to get some numbers to reference against the other shoes. So in summary, you can see the Durometer for the METASPEED Sky range between 34 to 36 plus plus. Therefore, in summary, in terms of the density, softness or firmness, the density number we get from the Sky is pretty in between the Tan Fei Ying and the 99%. Disclaimer, Nike shoe has always been known for being snug in the toe box, so for the next percent I got myself a pair of US 8. So right now what you see on the screen is actually a US 8 and it measures about 182 grams. Therefore I would reckon that this next percent will be of the same weight as the Sky if this is a US 7.5. For the shoe fitting test, I decided to test with two different types of socks. On my right is a more padded, thicker socks, and on my left is a very thin Drymax racing socks. In the toe box, you can see that I'm still able to wiggle my toes and straighten my toes. Although this is not the most widest or spacious toe box, after all, this is a racing shoe, so it's perfectly normal to feel snug on the edges. So this is in fact true to size for me, US 7.5, and I still have a little bit of space from the longest toe to the tip of the shoe. In this bird eye view, you can see that there's a significant pop flaring on the lateral and the middle side. So this additional flaring helps to give the the forefoot much more stable, especially during the tour phase. ASICS designed the shoe specifically for elite runners that has a very efficient long stride length while maintaining their constant cadence at high speed. Good examples are athletes like Sarah Hall and Zane Robertson. If you Google or YouTube their videos, you can see they have very nice long stride lengths in terms of their running style. FYI, ASICS is also planning to release another super shoe that is called the METASPEED H, which is going to release in June 2021. It has a less aggressive forefoot rocker than the Sky. It is designed for runners who have very high cadence and a preference for low ground feel due to the lower stack height. In conclusion, this is a summary chart of the METASPEED Sky. In comparison with the other super shoe I have the Nike Next Percent, the Cheltenham Fade In, the Saucony Endorphin Speed, which is a nylon plate instead of carbon plate, and ASICS Meta Racer. Wrapping up, this is just a first impressions unboxing video, so do watch out for more contents later on after I have clocked at least 50 km with the shoe. Thank you.